Hey, what's going on with it once again? Sorry about that. What's going on with it once again? Ladies and gentlemen, fanboys and fangirls, the one, the only, of course, Mr. Criticism Guy 2009, aka Nintendo Sony for 2011, and of course, Nintendo Manga Guy 360. I haven't used that thing in like a month, so I'm not doing as many videos over there as I am with these two channels. I'm doing a lot more better on my Nintendo Sony for 2011 channel, so definitely subscribe over there if you want, and over here too. You know, it's optional. I'm not forcing down your throats. Let me go back a little bit because I know I'm zoomed in a little bit, so my apologies ahead of time. And of course I got my purified drinking water right here, just in case I start getting like more thirsty. Sorry about that noise earlier. The reason I'm talking a little bit low is because one of my roomies once again is sleeping. I don't know what it is because they've really got work and shit, and I really don't want to be disrespectful in that way. I would have done this another time, but I didn't feel like it. But hopefully the lighting's better this time around because the last time was kind of dark. You guys couldn't see me that well, unfortunately. I'm Hispanic, not black or not, I'm just saying. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. So, hopefully you read the title up above and below. Let's get this stuff started. So, Crash Bandicoot versus Rayman. I know I've seen a lot of other ones of Crash Bandicoot versus Super Mario or Sonic, but no one hasn't done one of Rayman yet. And that kind of, for some reason, it intrigues me a little bit. Move this up a little closer, just in case you guys can't see it. So yeah, the reason why it intrigues me a little bit is because, you know, they're both from PlayStation, obviously. The only thing is I'm going to get into their backstory later, but right now, let me just give you a backstory of how I first discovered him. It was way back. This is way before I moved out to 702 out here in Vegas. So I was still like in the East Coast in New York City at that time. And I was still living the first 13 years of my life. Crazy times. You can skip the first 5 minutes because it's going to be a while before I start getting into the main 5 things I'm going to focus on: their backstory, the origins and stuff like that, how they came to be, number 1. Number 2, what are their like attacks, defenses, special attacks, special defense, and speed. I'm going to get to that. Number 3, which is going to be weapons, superpowers, special attacks, special talents, and everything like that. Or items that they use to defeat their enemies and stuff, or bosses. That's number 3, and then number 4, the biggest one, outcome, who would win. So a little backstory on how I first discovered these ones. First one was actually Crash Bandicoot. Then the very first like PlayStation game I actually discovered was Geeks the Gecko, or Gex the Gecko, how the Australians used to say it, or still saying it, or the British how they say it, Gexus, I don't know. But yeah, I discovered it through that. I was like, I think it was one of my cousins or my friends at that time that had a PlayStation 1, because I still had the old school Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, so I had to upgrade, obviously. So I got the PS1 over N64. I would have gotten both, but at that time I was still with my family. We were kind of making low income, so we couldn't get both consoles, unfortunately, so I wasn't able to get N64, so I had to choose the PS1, PS2 instead. And then I got a GameCube later on as our time grew on, and my family got more financially stabilized. At that time, I was still living with them like 5-6 years ago. But yeah, other than that, fucking hell, man. I discovered Crash Bandicoot at that time, and it's like one of my friends like, oh, you still gotta fucking play this game. I was like, I don't know what the hype is about Crash Bandicoot. The first level I played, it wasn't even the first one, it was Insanity Beach. I think it was Ripperoo, and that's why it was one of my most beloved, favorite characters in the freaking world. I just loved him to death. He was just amazing, beautiful, crazy as hell, as all hell in every respect of the way, literally a bat out of hell. And that's what made me fall in love with the game after a while. Let me put my little YouTube thing there. Yeah, but other than that, what else can I say? Another reason I found out about it is it ended up becoming a Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance, which was weird because it's like 2000, 2001, or 2002 when it came up for Game Boy Advance, because that's when it started becoming bigger after Game Boy Color was all done. That was finished. That whole era of Nintendo. And then there was Game Boy Advance SP, which I actually had, the silver one. Unfortunately, somebody stole it from me, which is a fucking asshole piece of shit, whoever did that. This is still when I was in middle school, I think 6th, 7th grade at that time. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, oh fuck, man, so many good nostalgic memories I have with Crash Bandicoot. Now let's get to Rayman. The way I found out about Rayman, I think it was like 99 or 2000, the first PS1 game where it came out for Ubisoft. It was pretty much Ubisoft's mascot at that time with what Rayman was about. I love the really cool professional voice acting they had for like the magician guy, because they didn't have nothing for Rayman yet. He just made grunts and moans like, yeah, let's do it, yay, like that, you know. They didn't really talk that much. Plus, you know, obviously it was extremely rare, especially in the 80s and 90s for video games, for the main character, the protagonist, to have talking abilities. I think it was 04 or 05, so it was like the mid-late 2000s when they started doing a lot more talking, and maybe a little bit of the early 2000s, like the Tony Hawk games and stuff like that. I think after Tony Hawk 3 and Underground, that's when they started talking a lot more, like having a lot more dialogue. And they had a lot more voice acting for video games after that. This is like before that era though, so obviously it was different as a 90s kid myself. I can definitely tell you hands-on, through experience, that it was a way different time for gaming at that time. Not this fucking Battlefield shit, Call of Duty shit all the time, with all that fucking crap all the time. Just, it annoys the fuck out of me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the younger generation, you don't understand this. Or I know people my age, they love the shit out of first-person shooter games, but I was never a fan of it. I'm sorry, I just never was. I mean, I am a fan of it now, but back then I wasn't. I mean, they're good games. It just gets so over fucking repetitive after a while. It gets boring after like a week or two when I play it. That's why I play it like once a month instead of every day or week. Like old school platformer games. That's what most of my like gaming background comes in. So without that 7 or 10 minutes I wasted, let's get to background story origins of Crash Bandicoot, obviously. Unfortunately, he didn't last as long as Rayman, because obviously you had Rayman Origins and Legends that lasted through modern gaming, which is crazy as hell, so I'm going to get to that later. Now, let me take my drink, because I'm starting to lose my voice already. But yeah, other than that, let's see, obviously Rayman, well not Rayman, Crash Bandicoot was obviously owned by Naughty Dog, and I think it was Universal Entertainment Studios or something like that made it. I don't know. I think it was one of those two. But other than that, I know I was real good friends with the person that made Spyro the Dragon, so that's another way I got introduced to Crash Bandicoot as well. I completely forgot to leave that out. But yeah, there's that. And what else? The reason the whole origins backstory of Crash Bandicoot and the original ones, the real ones, 1, 2, and 3, was he was just a regular marsupial, and I guess the marsupial is like the Tasmanian devil or the fox or the bear of Australia, I think. I don't know, New Zealand somewhere. No offense to anyone that lives down there in the Down Under. I got a lot of buddies over there too, on the internet of course. Like 2 of them obviously, I think Angus and Andrew, Crystal Fisher and another guy named Nintendo Gen 64. Really cool people, and they're on my Nintendo Sony Free channel if you want to check them out. But yeah, other than that, let me think. What is the thing? Oh yeah, Crash Bandicoot is just a regular marsupial, aka he was a fox in this universe or whatever, but he was called Marsupial better. You know, in the original content, the old beta version, it was going to be called Willy the Wombat, but they already had that with Sonic the Hedgehog, I think. I don't know. He looked too similar to Sonic, so that's why they didn't want to get any copyright claims through Sega or anything like that, or get sued by Sega. That's the last thing Naughty Dog wanted. This was way before Uncharted and The Last of Us obviously was created. Years in advance later. It was like 2012, 2013, and way after, up to now. But yeah, other than that, after he ended up getting tested and experiments on by his evil arch nemesis, the main boss and the main villain of this game, Neo Cortex, or N Cortex, whatever you want to call him, and his assistant, Dr. Embryo, I think that's what his name was. And then after that, he ends up escaping out of jail, and unfortunately left his girlfriend behind, and he's like, uh-oh, I'm gonna fall. And then he falls out of the Cortex castle, where he escaped from. And after I was like, no, don't let that Crash Bandicoot get away. I want him to come back so we can do more experiments on him. And after that, oh, never mind that. He ends up kidnapping his girlfriend, and she unfortunately gets left behind. Her name was Tana, or Tanya. I like to call her Tanya a lot better than Tana. Tana Bandicoot. It's like, oh, we'll just work on his pretty little girlfriend instead, which you can see right there, if you haven't seen her already. But yeah, other than that, after that, it's up to you. It's up to your mission to like save your girlfriend Tanya, or Tanya, however you want to say her name. Tanya. And you end up eventually saving her. You have to go through a whole bunch of other bosses, like classics like Papu Papu, Ripperoo, the one I said earlier, Koala Kong or Koala Kong. I used to call him Koala Kong back in the day. It's the Koala Kong. And then after the last 2 was Pinstripe, or Pinstripe, however you want to say. I used to call him Pinstripe. I never called him Pinstripe. And the last one was Embryo, Neo Cortex's assistant. And then the 6th and final boss was finally Dr. Neo Cortex himself. Sorry about my shirt. I don't know what's going on with me today. It's weird. Sorry for all the apologies and shit. But anyways, let's keep it moving. Obviously in Crash Bandicoot 2, like Cortex, he decides to forgive Crash Bandicoot for all the BS that he put him through. He wants to help him gain this new item, because the first one was gems and the second one was crystals after that. He had to collect 25 or 30 something crystals, maybe 27 crystals throughout the whole game. And then he ends up getting reintroduction through his little sister, which is Coco, and she actually has voice dialogue in this game. She gets to talk and everything too, which is fucking awesome as hell. Freaking insane. I loved it. It was a huge upgrade from Crash Bandicoot 1 because they were actually able to talk this time. Except Crash. Unfortunately, he didn't get no voice, which sucked. But hey, it is what it was. It was what it was. It was different in the 90s, you know. It was like 96, 97, 98, and 99. And after 2000, that's when they changed them a lot more. After that, what happened was after he ends up getting all the 25, he gets all the 25 crystals and everything, and he ends up getting all the gems. There's two different alternate endings. The first one's where you defeat Dr. Neocortex, and the first one after that, Coco tells Crash, "Oh, whatever happened to the Cortex Vortex? It's still up there." And then they show it going around the big spaceship. And then Embryo, he ends up getting replaced by Engine, which kind of sucked because I liked Embryo more, but Engine was cool too. He was nostalgic for me just as much as Embryo was too. Of course, embryo, you know, it kind of has that play to the fetus or whatever. And then after that, in the second alternate ending, they showed him Dr. Embryo, Nitrous Brio, I think was his name. He ends up saying, "Oh, would you like to do the honors, Crash?" And after that, he jumps on this big giant Cortex Vortex laser beam. He destroys the shit out of the Cortex Vortex, and then he ends up leading to Crash Bandicoot 3. And after Crash Team Racing, they'll stop because there's like a million other Crash games after 2004, 2007, I think was the last ones they made. And those were kind of shit. I'm sorry, they were. Twinsanity and the Crash of the Titans and what was those? Another one. I think it was Right Back at You or something. Those three were shitty as fuck. I'm sorry. I didn't like the concept design for it. I know he was in there. I just added him, that newer Crash. I wasn't a fan of him at all. He was just shit. It was mierda. I didn't like him, period. First two were cool as fuck. After the Wrath of Cortex, I didn't like him that much anymore. But he was still very memorable, nostalgic nevertheless. That's when they decided to break him in GameCube and Xbox at that time was very huge. And after that, what happened was after the Cortex Vortex exploded, Crash Bandicoot 2, there was Crash Bandicoot 3, which was warped, where they show brand new enemies. They showed Uka Uka, which is Aku Aku's brother, evil twin brothers. The master always says "Booga," you know, that thing. And after that, what happened was he ends up summoning a new enemy, which was called Entropy. Was the one he had the power of Master of Time and Illusion in space. So he was able to manipulate time with the power of his fucking hands. Extremely deadly fucking boss character, one of the best designed boss characters of all time during that era of PS1, PS2. What else? What happened after that? And then they end up bringing brand new enemies, bosses. I forgot to tell you the second ones first. Tiny, for Crash Bandicoot 2 was Tiny, the Komodo brothers, the return of Ripperoo again, and Engine obviously was a big one. I'm trying to think of another one. Of course, Neo Cortex, of course. I'm not sure if there was 6 or 5. I'm not sure. And then, of course, in Crash Bandicoot 3, they have the return of Tiny again, but in like a Greek medieval thing, instead of a technological, futuristic level. It was that one for Tiny. And then you had a brand new introductions of Dingodile and Trophy, and who else? And then you have Return of Engine again. And I think that was it. Then you had Cortex again, obviously. And there was those 5 enemies. That was it. And you had to fight Cortex 2 times, so you could get 2 different alternate endings. Very memorable quotes. I remember there's one part where you defeat Neo Cortex in the Crash Bandicoot War where he says, "I need big pav." I think he said, "Maybe I should go on a nice long beach with a nice, beautiful blonde woman and she'd have a really nice big pair of bags of ice for my head." And everyone thought he was going to say big pair of tits or pussy or something like that. But of course, this was a kid's game. They couldn't use cussing, profanity, or vulgar sexual language like that, obviously. You know, they would have been sued the shit out of by a lot of angry parents that would have did that shit. It would have made M for mature instead of E for everyone, obviously. Like fucking Leisure Suits Larry at that time. A lot of parents got pissed off at that time I was there. I was about 15, 16 when that came out. PS2, PS3, I don't know. But yeah, and then the last one, Crash Team Racing. The other ones I'm not even going to get to, like Crash Bash, unfortunately, and Crash Nitro Kart. I'm not going to talk about those because they're going to take forever. Let's get into the next Crash Band. This is probably going to be an hour too, so it's probably been 20, 25 minutes already, so I apologize in advance. Let's see, with Crash Team Racing, obviously was a brand new enemy named Nitrous Oxide. Very, very huge enemy. He was the one that he wanted to race for the fate of your planet. It's like, get ready to face for the race to the fate of your planet. You know, freaking awesome actor, whoever it was. You're watching this, sir. You are amazing. You're a gentleman, a scholar. You are a legend of video games, and you have the best voice talent of all time. If you're watching this, I highly doubt you are. The one that played Nitrous Oxide, and everyone else too, of course. This one's a little bit different because they try to go the Super Mario, like Mario Kart kind of style of racing, but it was a little bit different. Or Disney Kart racing, or Bugs Life, Toy Story kind of shit, but it did do a little bit better in all those, just not as much as Mario Kart. I do like that a little bit better, unfortunately. But yeah, the thing is, it can't really hold a torch compared to Mario. That one's around 1978. I think Crash Bandicoot was like 1995, 96, so it's a lot younger, obviously. But yeah, and then there's a big giant legacy of Mario, obviously. It's the king of games, literally. Of history, almost. Besides the Xbox One, PS4 and shit, you know? But yeah, other than that, let me see. You get all these brand new characters. Actually, you get a whole bunch of old returning characters. You get Pura, Polar, Coco, Dingo Dial, Tiny, Crash Bandicoot, of course. And we get two new ones, Penta Penguin and Fake Crash. Those were brand new. And then you get all the boss enemies, the old school and the new school ones. And then the last two secret characters is Entropy and what was it? I think Embryo. Those were the two secret ones you were able to get. And I forgot about Qualicon too. You could get him. He's extremely hard to get because you had to get like 110% in the game or 125%. I don't know. I forget how it went. Because you had to hit every single platinum gem, all platinum relics, all crystals, all CNK card tokens, and every single gem in the game to get it perfectly 125% complete if you want it. Qualicon, Entropy, and Penta Penguin. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much the whole concept of the game there. Now let's get to all of his attacks and special attacks abilities and shit. I'm going to talk about those. I guess attack and special attack are very high. That's the thing that Rayman will definitely have to look out for. Very dangerous, extremely risky for him to do that. Special defense, he doesn't really have it, I guess. But defense, he sort of did. In Crash Bandicoot 2, he had a really good special defense, but then he lost in Crash Bandicoot Warp, unfortunately. His speed, the only thing that makes him a lot faster is his tornado speeds, his slide spins, and his double dash ability, and they got in Crash Bandicoot 3, obviously. And let's talk about all the attacks and weapons. He doesn't have any superpowers, unfortunately, unless you want to count the tornado as a superpower, then go ahead. But his items are weapons and like special talents that he can do. Obviously, he's able to drive cars. He's able to use pogo sticks, army tanks, airplanes. He's able to use a lot of very good machineries, vehicles out there, flying mechanics, boating mechanics, speedboats, jet skis. He's able to use a surfboard jet ski thing. What else does he have? A shit ton of other things. He has the bazooka. He has the super tornado spin. He has the super mega body slam. What else does he have? The slide spin, like I was talking about. And the last two biggest things is his bazooka attack and what else? I'm trying to think of. I did say pogo stick already, and his invisibility with Aku Aku. So that's the 6 big giant attacks that he can ever use against Rayman, and that's it. You know, they're both good guys. They're both heroes of PS1 and beyond. But of course, Crash kind of like was the first one, like 3 years before Rayman came out. So he's a little older than Rayman. Let me get my drink again. Good shit, by the way. Can't go wrong with purified water. Yeah, so other than that, let's see. I already went through the special attacks and abilities. Oh, he had a lot of, I already said, mechanical things that he can do. He's able to swim underwater for long periods of time without holding his breath. He's very invulnerable to that. He could slow down time when he uses the time crates, so I don't know if we count that as a special ability when he do the rally challenges. So he's able to slow down and speed up time to his liking. And of course in Crash Team Racing he had a whole bunch of missiles, the bombs, the invincibility he had. So Crash, oh my god, he's got a shit ton of weapons and a shit ton of superpowers. It's extremely crazy as fuck. Epic as hell. Straight up an epic win, I would say. My popularity-wise decision, in my personal opinion, I think Crash would win, but I'm going to get to that as soon as I get done with Rayman. So that's all of his stuff. And then Crash Bash, you got a shit ton more. And you get a lot of little submarines, space station, jetpacks, hovercraft with UFOs and shit. He's able to control those and beyond. And I'm not going to talk about the rest of the games because they're a lot more relevant to me. After the Wrath of Cortex, I didn't care too much about it anymore. His design, the rest of the games were cool. I just didn't like his design. That was it. Now let's talk about Rayman, if he's on there. That's Crash. The other one was Rayman. Let's see if I can get to him. Can I get to him? Yeah, there's Rayman. So Rayman. Origins of Rayman, obviously, it's pretty much to nobody's surprise that he came out for Ubisoft. Like I said, I'm not going to give him the backstory again. But the first part of the backstory, I'm just going to do that one because the rest will take ages. So I'll talk about every single game, like Rayman Revolution, Rayman Hoodlum Havoc, Rayman The Great Escape, and the regular modern day ones like Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends. Those ones were the newest ones that came out last year. So unfortunately, yes, he did last way longer than Crash Bandicoot. He went past 2007, even though the only two games I didn't like was Rayman Advance. I didn't like that one too much, or the N-Gage ones, which was the second one way back in the day, that one. And then the third one, Raving Rabbids, that was just a shitty-ass fucking game. I didn't like it, period. Even though it's on there, I didn't like it for fucking jack squat. I'm going to be honest with you. And it had a little shitty-ass Nickelodeon show on there, Raving Rabbids. It was really fucking stupid. I didn't like it at all. It annoyed the fuck out of me and gave me fucking migraines. I did never watch it again after those 3 months when it happened. Rayman, obviously the backstory for the first one, I'm not going to get into all the games, just the first one, was about him stopping Mr. Dark, one of the most iconic and extremely mysterious, least known information boss enemies that I've ever fought in my life. Maybe other old school gamers, 90s kids, maybe early 2000s kids, you can back me up on this when I say it, but what the fuck happened to him? That's what I want to know. How in the hell did he just defeat him and then boom, he's fucking gone like that? That never made sense to me in the slightest. I don't know what Ubisoft was thinking, but it kind of sucked. Yes, in the beginning intro, there's this magician guy. I'm not sure everything that he says, all the little details. I'll put the link down below if you want to watch his intro for the Rayman games. There's a million of them on YouTube. It goes beyond me, literally. You should know what Rayman is. I'm not even going to get to explanation. But yeah, he's just explaining about the world of like magic and fairies and everything. It's kind of like Legend of Zelda a little bit. Just my own personal opinion, but a lot more of a cooler version. It wasn't a Nintendo version. It was the PlayStation version at that time and its predecessors after that. Yeah, but other than that, what happened was he had to save Batilla the Fairy and the Electums. This was way before the what was it called? The Tinsies existed. I think in Rayman 2 and 3, that's when they existed. The Electums were completely gone after that. But yeah, obviously there's that. He had to save the whole world because Batilla the Fairy, he ended up destroying like half of the world and everything, and the magic beings, the fairies and everything, and magic and friendship and shit like that. It's like My Little Pony stuff. But this isn't Equestria though. Yeah, but other than that, what happened was Mr. Dark, he got a hold of it and he made a double version of like Rayman's evil, dark, satanic, evil, demonic side that like to destroy things that where everything was good and pure and holy and everything. Holies of holies, I don't know. And then after that, what happened was Batilla the Fairy tried to fight him, but she ended up getting destroyed by Mr. Dark because his powers were a lot more stronger than hers. They made her a little over-sexual later on in the games, but in this time period, 98, 99, she was a lot more decent at that time. Let me get my drink again. I have to do it, sorry guys. But yeah, other than that, let's see. Rayman, he ends up going through all these 7 different parts of the country of his own universe and his own world. And he fights a lot of bosses along the way. You remember Mr. Saxophone, he was in there. The Rock Boss, I don't remember all their names. The Scorpion Boss, Space Mama, I remember her. And then 2 other ones which I'm trying to remember. The Mosquito one, he was cool as fuck. I loved his shit. And then the one that you combine all of them mix into one after you fight Mr. Dark. So it's like 7 to 10 different enemies. I forgot the last 3 enemies that were in there, but I remember the first 7. What else can I say about Rayman? Really amazing, beautiful platforms. I love every single inch of that fucking game. If I ever do a game review on it one day, you'll know. I did on my Nintendo Sony Free channel for Origins and Legends on my backup channel over there if you want to check that out for the modern day versions, not the old school ones. Maybe I will one day. Who knows? If I get maybe 200 subs, hopefully. I'm 11, 12 subscribers away from that, and then I'll get into more into detail and that. Until then, it's classified. Yeah, other than that, let's see. That's pretty much explains the whole game. He has to save the Electum, save Batilla the Fairy, and go through a lot of treacherous enemies in 7 different parts of the world. He has to fight, like Mr. Dark's minions and shit, you know? Yeah, but other than that, what else can I say about the game? Good fucking lord. There's so much to say in so little time. so little ways to say it. Let's talk about like his special attacks and stuff. Obviously, he's pretty much all perfect with stats except for his speed. The only time his speed is good is almost at the end of the game in the last 2 worlds. That doesn't really count. In the later games, his speed improves a lot better, but in the old school one, his speed was shit. Everything as a status was good. Attack, special attack, defense, special defense was perfection beyond belief. And let's talk about his superpowers, because he really didn't use weapons at all. He used the enemies as weapons, and that's pretty much it. So, and as far as weapons and special talent, he didn't have that, but he did have special attacks and superpowers. So obviously he had the super mega fist. He doesn't have no limbs, he doesn't have no arms or legs. He only has his feet and his hands instead, or his fist. Every time he'll do that, like that, fucking cool shit, you know. He had his iron fist, a regular fist, a super supreme powerful fist, and he ended up having a flying, like limited, like flight of power, like his helicopter for his like hair. He had that. And what else did he have? He ended up having after he had that, he had a whole bunch of other powers. He was able to like jump from platform to platform with his like he's able to grab these donut angels or donut wings, where he would grab onto it, and he had like longer periods of flight. And then the last one he got was speed and agility, and he got like 2 more other attacks, but I completely forgot what they were. There was no underwater levels in the first one, but in the second one and beyond, they had a couple more after that. What else? I think I'm forgetting one last thing. I'm trying to remember what it was. He has the ability to like hang on to stuff, you know? He's able to climb things up and down, and he's able to dodge like projectiles that try to hit Rayman. So that's pretty much it there for the old school one. The new school one I'm not going to get into that much because it's very, very relevant. There's still a billion people that know about it. I do Seamus from SSOH, the one from the Creatures Club. He's still doing his Rayman Let's Play with his girlfriend Ash. If you want to watch that Rayman Legends Let's Play, I'll put the link in his videos down below. He's got almost 2 million subs, so a lot of people probably know who Seamus is, or Seamus or Dorothy from SSOH. A lot of people know him by now. He does a lot of shit ton of Minecraft videos. Does a lot of Smite that he's doing currently, and he's doing a lot of what else? I think he did Skyrim before, and he did Dark Souls. I think he's doing Dark Souls 2 still. You want to check his shit out? He's a boss. He works for Machinima. Anybody who works as a Let's Player for Machinima, they're making bank. They're making 140, 150 grand, but I'm not here to talk about that. So who will win the fight? The thing I would have to say is as much weapons, superpowers, and abilities and talents that Crash Bandicoot has, strength-wise, I think Rayman, he's taken down giants. He's taken down gods. He's taking down mythical beings that are 1 billion times stronger than what Crash Bandicoot's like enemies have. So I'm gonna have to give the victory, strength-wise, and a lot more smart and intellectual-wise. I'm gonna have to give the victory to Rayman. Rayman is the winner of this fight. As much as I love my boy Crash Bandicoot, I love him to death, but I'm giving the victory to Rayman. I have to, because he would stop Crash Bandicoot in a second if he uses like a special fist or whatever. If he uses any of his flying powers. Because the only way Crash can fly is if he uses his special vehicles or anything, or if he uses tornadoes. He doesn't fly as long. And in Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends, he was able to fly way longer. He had less limited. He was unlimited after that, pretty much. And he could take a lot more hits too. He could take 20, 30 hits and damages and stuff later on in the other games. Crash Bandicoot can only take like 3 or 4 hits, unfortunately, so he's not as powerful in that department. And then the last reason why Rayman would win over Crash Bandicoot, later on in the games he gets way faster than Crash, and unfortunately popularity-wise, Rayman lasted a lot longer than Crash did. But I would say, in my defense of Crash Bandicoot, it would be a tie as far as platformer games go. They both had the best, like, they were the best legends of their time. Literally, they were at the pinnacle of their success in the 90s. And unfortunately, 04, 05, 06, maybe 07, up to 2000s, Crash Bandicoot sadly fell off the face of the earth, and sadly was never pronounced again. It was never mentioned of again until later on. I think this year, 2014 or 2014, he's supposed to get a remake. I hope to God they do him right. I really want to see a new Crash game. I love the hell out of that motherfucker. I miss his girlfriend Tana and his hot ass sexy sister Coco. She was cute as fuck too. I really want to see them back again. They were amazing women. I really hope to see them again. And there's going to be a lot more shippings going on with them. The furry, probably hentai versions of art. I would like to see that shit. I don't care what people say. It's fucking awesome. And I've been over an hour in this probably by now. But like I always do say, is what is, ain't what ain't. See you when I see you guys every day. Have a night, wherever out around the world. Don't drink, smoke weed at the same time. Don't drink the reckless. See you soon. See you around. Peace out. Lates. Goodbye. Have a good day. Have a good night, wherever you're at in the universe. And I will talk to you guys soon. Lates. Goodbye. And of course, you guys take it easy, people. Stay safe, and talk to you soon. I'm out, and I'm getting the hell out of here. Deuces.